It hits again. Kevy, he's done it one more time.
The Chaos Storm! Claire jumps in with the Grand Slam! But in a three-man Moonfall, and it's just lights out for Direwolves, just like that.
The showstopper. Look at the backline. It's getting melted.
Something right now, Sonic Wave is there, it's getting lower and lower. Oh! But they've stolen it! Mammoth have got the Baron! He's gonna fall on down, it's just too much damage! Rest in peace!
I am Mac. You are an LCO viewer, and I hope an LCO enjoy you, because we got one more day of games this week and some big games on the menu for you all to feast on as well. But look, before we jump on into today's games, I've got a bit of a wardrobe malfunction. I noticed my dog actually ate the button off my shirt. So if someone could quickly find that for me and bring me, you know, needle and thread, and then also show me how to sew, I'll fix that. If not, I can just unbutton it all. So, you know, 1 in chat for the first option, 2 in chat for the second option, and look, 3 in chat if you just want to watch the replays, which we're going to go to right now.
Jumps in and realizes that's got the fight he's after. There's got a lot of damage from the missiles as they look to try and disengage away. Predator's been pounced upon with the Killer Instinct. And Frost has got that Killer Instinct. He's found a double here. He's not going to run them all down in close proximity. He's found himself a triple kill. Now on towards that cannon, who finds the Lee Sim. We're going to pay the price for it. He's got a quad.
It all comes down to like how you play the. Oh, hang on.
Okay, he wants a little bit of this one, doesn't he? He's got the quad trigger. Flashes away from the Shadow Surge. And just straight disrespects Fido and takes down his jungler. That was gorgeous.
I don't think you'd ever go through with it.
Yeah, it does scale with the health, and they're going to be looking to try and take as much of that health as they can. They've absolutely just sniped out Puma under any real threat of having to worry about that Guardian Angel. Voice is just trying to be an absolute hero. Voice. He's flashed forward. He wants to do it all. He's trying to go for the bailout procs. It's just staying online. He is doing it all on his own. He's corralled the rest of the team. Get in this base, because I am popping off.
It was a cracking day of games yesterday, but Menulog Mealtime is here to get you all nice and appetized before, of course, we jump on into today's action. And to bring me all these appetizers, our chefs and resident, what are they, waiters? Skimmy, are you a waiter? Or were you just waiting to come on?
I'm always just waiting to come on because I want to spend more time with you, Mac.
Beautiful, beautiful. Rusty, you're looking beautiful over there as well. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm still stuck on appetizers. I'm just trying to work out if it's like potatoes made to be an appetizer, Matt, because I reckon that could work.
You've never had appetizers before. Well, I'll show you one day the secret of the appetizers. But look, if you guys want to win yourself a $30 Menulog voucher, get those menu pogs in the chat. It is open to Australian residents only. But you can win that $30 voucher. Get yourself some appetizers if you can find them on Menulog. If not, look, well, you're living nowhere near me because I'm the only person in the world that knows what appetizers are. Now, let's have a quick chat, okay? Yesterday, we asked which champion we'd want to eat for dinner, but I'm thinking dessert. So, anything spicy. Any champs that you think would taste good, you know, as thirds, seconds, you know, that fourth course.
I'm reckoning a cupcake Brom. Get some sweet desserts in there, right? He's going to serve it on an absolute shield. Yeah. He's going to lay down the red carpet, except it's going to be frozen. So you got yourself a movie. You've got the entertainment to match the sweet.
Not too bad. What about you, Rusty?
I think the easy choice here is what our production said yesterday, Zach. Right? It'd be jelly. So I think you got a free dessert choice there for you. I can't think of anything that like. My first thought was like, what is a cold champion, Mac? Because like dessert, right? But I don't think you'd want to even have a crack at a Nivea.
Yeah.
Break your teeth, eh?
Maybe a Nunu. Isn't there like... I'd eat, what's the Snowman Yee? Just put some, you know, cordial on him and it'd be like one of those snow cones. What do you reckon?
Sure.
Is that a good idea?
Yeah.
Sure.
How many snow champs are there? I know there's heaps from like all the old Christmas skins, right?
Oh,
or is there not actually heaps?
You got champions and you got skin lines, right? I've just got Nunu and Sejuani that come to mind.
Graves has like a snow day skin.
Yeah.
I think Ziggs does as well. Yeah. So maybe 5?
Very true. Producer Laura just let us know that Siva has a pizza skin, but of course it's not dessert. She could throw Nutella pizzas at you.
Dessert pizza, it's a good option.
Yeah, we don't actually know what's on the pizza. It looks pretty basic, like it's probably a pepperoni or something.
Yeah.
But you know, those red things could be...
I think it actually changes with her chromas, by the way, on that skin. The
does
pizza
it?
itself, topping. I think toppings change, yeah.
I've never noticed that.
I guess we'll have to have a look at that one. Hopefully there's more of like a supreme going on, some, you know, capsicum olives and stuff in there. Because that's what I'll be down for. Even for dessert, who cares, you know? Pizza can be every meal of the day. Right, Rusty?
Yeah, why not? What's to stop it?
It's a dirty bulk.
Cold pizza the day after, hot pizza the night of. Lunch,
That's it.
breakfast.
Always on the dirty bulk. And look, that's it for Menulog meal time. But let's jump on in to have a look at the standings, which I was very excited about yesterday. There's no ties. There's no ties, Skimmy. So talk to me about why this matters and what's interesting about where everyone currently is.
Yeah, well, what's really exciting for me is the fact that Chiefs and Peace are guaranteed an upper bracket placement. There's no contesting that one. There is still a chance that Peace can, with their schedule, eclipse Chiefs and get that upper bracket bye round, which would be quite exciting. But as it stands for the rest of the ladder, you know, Pensnet, Order, and Direwolves all fighting down below, looking to try and see what they can do. It's only Pensnet now that can retain their upper bracket positioning, I believe. So there's some pretty spicy situations that go around of, you know, defending positions and ultimately getting the best stake possible to make that playoff stream alive.
That's what it's all about, right? Now, look, let's have a look at today's games as well, Rusty, because we have some big ones on the menu, namely that Peace and Chiefs game, but look, followed very, very closely by that Order and Pensnet game as well.
Yeah, dude, the middle of the day is stacked today. It's super exciting. You've got PGG, Order, Peace, Chiefs. Both games are going to be important, not necessarily for the standings themselves, though there is still, you know, some room to move. There's still a lot of possibilities that positions change. It is more so exciting just because it's the top of the table playing against each other just prior to going into playoffs, right? Where it is do or die, where some of these teams will just have an immediate elimination round. So you need to come in with the hottest form possible. And this is the best practice that you'll get.
100% playing all the top teams in the league, but it's also a great form check today for Direwolves because going up against Mammoth, it could be difficult depending on which Mammoth we see today, but I believe they've also had a bit of a roster shuffle going into that one, but you know, stay tuned if you want to see that one at 9 p.m. For the moment, though, let's start to talk about things that matter, things that are extremely interesting that have gone on throughout the split so far, and that's the round robin. So we can have a look at where the teams currently are on the ladder, where they were after the first round robin and the second round robin. Skimmy, what's cool about this? What's interesting?
Yeah, well, I think what's really cool from the very get-go is that both Chiefs and Peace came out the gate swinging. Front runners that have never dropped out of that top two conversation, so certainly front runners to try and take it all. Obviously, Peace was the big standout in that discussion as we didn't really expect them to be as strong as they were. Order and Pensnet have been a little bit slower in that growth, but that's also been a similar sort of circumstances, right, where they've just never left third and fourth. I think we always had these four as the four teams guaranteed. Just looking at their rosters when they were announced coming into Split 1, it was always us keeping our eyes on that fifth and final spot. Who would it be? We always had the names of Direwolves and Kanga floating around. Obviously, Direwolves have started with a lot of experimentation. As the weeks and days have gone by, they've just got stronger and stronger, looking a lot more cohesive, a lot stronger, a lot more well-rounded. And as you've seen where we stand now, they've risen above the rest, guaranteed themselves that fifth and final spot, and made history for the individuals.
Yeah, it's interesting that, you know, throughout all these games as well, I'm looking at Mammoth. They got those 3 wins at the start, and we were thinking, all right, they're a team that's contending. But then the rest of the teams picked up their pace through that second round robin, and Mammoth's only been able to find that 1 dub in that second round robin as well as that third. So only 5 overall so far, but there's still room for improvement. There is 3 days left of games for them, and look, going up against Direwolves, there's definitely reality where they can make that happen. However, I want to start talking about Dare, not only because it's sparkling, cold brew, and beautiful, but also because they are the ones that bring us all the MVPs, right? And so far, the Dare MVPs have been pretty damn close with a couple of individuals because we've had some carries on some certain teams that are just getting it back to back to back to back. And look, Raze and Puma, they are leading the charge here, Rusty.
Yeah, the funny thing about the Chiefs, though, is that you've also got Topoon closely behind with 4 MVPs in second. So, I mean, This is a case of they are just winning that often. And the beauty of this is Raze has carried the most for the team, but very early into the season, Topoon was, you know, doing a bulk of the work with Arthur, just making those plays happen. I think he's got a couple of MVPs where his scoreline isn't even good, you know? He just had a crazy map influence, like a 0-2-8 NAR MVP game. Puma, on the other hand, is the only member of Order that you will see on this list, because every time they win, it seems like it is him or Kevy going absolutely crazy with it. And Puma is the one that has been doing that more consistently, where Kevi has more of a reliance perhaps on a couple of pocket picks or AP junglers as they are. Whereas, you know, you've got your PGGs, multiple members up there as well. Prey to slow start, strong finish at the moment. Yuri with a very slow start, but an extremely strong middle of the season for him.
I think I'm most surprised with this graphic about the fact that I'm not seeing Balkan here, considering he's, you know, one of the key players for Pensanet. He just hasn't managed to snag too many MVPs, and I think I've seen him say something about that on Twitter. But look, let's have a quick touch on the solo kill leaders as well, because Skimmy, there has been a lot of action for these 5 individuals.
They certainly have, and very early on we were seeing Tapoon pull away from the rest of the pack, and we're thinking this guy is really in a league of his own. He has set that gold standard of how he plays the lanes, how he plays the game as a whole. He's taking solo kills, he's roaming and helping the rest of his team get those kills, and sort of just speaks to the strength that position offers and sort of the gap that it's created. 24 solo kills, it's actually now 8th in the entire world, which is an incredible feat. So certainly the player to watch out for. Kyosei, as much as he gets those 4 MVPs, he's the standout player still on the side of Direwolves. Same could be said for Dejong, the standout mid laner on Gravitas. So certainly 2 very formidable mid laners that make up the only ones on this leaderboard as a whole, and then Tien and Lived being final 2 on this list from the top half of the map that can certainly carry on any given day. So yeah, very impressive across the board, and sort of what you'd expect really from how all these players individually approach matchups.
What I'm more interested about out of all of these solo kills, it'd be another good stat which we could pull at some point, but I feel like it could be Dejong. It's like first bloods. How many of these solo kills have been first bloods as well? Because I feel like if you're looking at that stat, maybe Tapoon falls off a little bit, because a lot of the times he'll get these solo kills, you know, deeper in the game, maybe not as the first blood, but every time we've seen, you know, Gravitas play, it just seems like Dejong is just taking those one-on-ones as early as possible before the junglers can even come in. He's just playing for that like level 2, level 3 little advantage, and always seems to get that little step up. So, Rusty, anything else you want to touch on before we move on?
I'll be honest, Mac, I was looking at Tien thinking, isn't it nice that one of our players had jewelry and nice fashionable glasses on, and I just wish that the rest of the players had more jewelry on. I was stuck on that. I really think now, like future photo shoots, as if you don't wear, you know, nice clothes, jewelry, and get a couple of things on, because you can't change the jersey, you can change what you look like.
What if they don't own jewelry? Because I know I don't own jewelry, so I'm just, and I'm a gamer too. Mate? I don't know. Never worn jewelry. I think that's a pretty normal thing.
We've got a lot to show you, mate.
Don't worry, we'll hop on an LCO jet.
That's a conversation for another time. Anyway, look, a conversation we can have right now is listening out for what kind of matters, because it's time for the LCO Champion Conundrum.
Is today the day luck's with you? Is it now your life could read you? Then you must play the game, cause I have to proclaim life's a game of chance.
And look, Kitty was on the graphic, so it's only fair we bring her in as well, because she is currently the LCO Champion Conundrum Champion. Pretty much just, winning all the time, aren't you, Kitty?
Thank you, Mac. I am indeed winning these champion guessing, but I'm not winning in my solo queue games, so please bless me, chat, in my solo queue games.
Okay, 1 in chat if you want to bless Kitty for a solo queue games. But for the moment, we're going to listen out to a couple of sound bites. These character lines, character voices, couple of sounds as well thrown in there that aren't necessarily words. And you guys just have to guess the champion. So that's what we're doing today. And this is really going to test your lore. Because, I don't know, I know I don't play with voice lines on.
I play with sound off as well, Mac. This is awful.
You play with sound off?
Yeah,
I don't play with sound off.
That's a freak move.
But I play with voice lines off, I think.
I don't know, I just listen to music
We're
instead.
split down the middle of like high and low ranks in this lobby, by the way. Only 2 of us have sounds on. Is that a coincidence, do you think?
That's what it comes down to, right? Now, look, let's jump on into the first voice line.
This is the time. The world
That's Aatrox.
Oh, see, she's ruined it again. The line isn't done, and she's correct. Congratulations, Kitty. You're too good. Let's just jump into the second one.
Aatrox has the moniker the World Ender, right? So
I threw my pen, by the way.
I mean, he's technically the...
And pretty picture.
Oh, Fiora.
Fiora, yeah.
Okay. Congratulations, Skimmy. You got a point.
I thought these
threw
would
my
be
pen at the
easy. I
wall,
was
though.
going to be honest. You guys are killing it so far.
Okay.
My
Number 3.
mercy has
Jump on in.
limits.
Oh, wait.
Caitlin?
No, it's not Caitlin.
I don't think so.
Can we get a replay, please?
Oh, I don't know about that one.
Oh.
Has limits.
Mercy has limits.
Oh, that sounds
Mercy
so
has
familiar.
Could be Yordles, hey.
I thought Poppy, but I wasn't sure.
Sounds so. Wait.
I can tell you it's not a Yordle,
Oh, okay.
and it's not Caitlyn.
It's not
Too many
Annie, it's not
this is
Caitlin.
a new champion, that is the issue.
One more time.
It's a new champ.
My
Oh no, they
mercy
got
has
a.
limits.
It's a champion that got a voice line rework, but I can't think of which champ. It's not a new champion.
It's not a new champion. I'm pretty sure she was like one of the original champions or came in like really early.
Ash?
Oh
Yes,
yeah, it is Ash.
It was Ash. Congrats,
She
Like
Yeah,
a
Skimmy.
got
skinny.
rework.
Sheesh.
Nice.
Did she get voice line reworks? I didn't know that.
She did.
Yeah, yeah.
There you have it. So, you know, you're getting them. You know, that was probably the hardest one so far.
Yeah.
Now let's jump on into number 4.
Nice job just standing there.
It's Asol.
Is that Cho'Gath?
Aurelian Soul.
You already asked yesterday if you could say that on stream, and now you're just saying it whenever you can, Kitty. That's crazy. All right?
Drop that A-bomb.
But you got it correct. You got it correct. I don't know
Thank
if
you, thank you.
Yep, you got that one. Cool. Now we got number 5. Let's see what it is.
I will not rest.
Darius.
Yes.
I mean, listen, guys, we
Wow.
brought Kitty in just to shit on all of us. And we just
To find
ship
the
her off
points, you
and
know?
just get
ever
ready
a-
for her interview, and we'll
there's
just
ever a
sit here
trivia night,
disheveled
eh?
and distraught.
Okay. Okay, Kitty, we got the last one, but if you know it, don't say it instantly. Just say, I know it. See if the boys can get it as well. All right.
Okay.
I'll
'Cause
give the boys a
we're
chance.
bloody going too quick. We're going to run
Okay.
out of time. Anyway, look, let's jump into the final one. Very, very, you know, monotonous.
It's a laugh, though. It's
Is
not
that
a voice line
Alawi?
this time.
It's a laugh.
No,
but it's not
Skimmy.
Alawi.
It's not Alawi.
Oh, so you know. Kitty.
It sounded like a bruiser laugh.
Do we not get to play
I
it again?
kind of think. So.
Can we play it
Don't,
again?
don't guess yet. Let the boys have like 4
Oh,
more
we're
guesses.
We're talking over it.
Misfortune.
Not MF.
No, it's not MF. She's
I'm
way
so
more
confident.
seductive with the laugh. Or like crazy.
Or seductive, eh?
Well, I don't think it's...
What does Rusty do in his games? eh?
Bro, you don't have sound on, you don't get it.
That's true. That's true. All right, let's do it one more time. Listen carefully.
Oh, it's like a Syndra?
No, I can tell you.
I think I know what it is, but I don't want to spoil it.
Usually
for
a
the...
jungler. Usually a jungler.
Usually a
Oh, a
Kindred?
jungler.
Is it Kindred?
Elise.
Yes.
Okay.
Congratulations. Did you know that one, Kitty? Did you
No,
think it
I
was
thought it was
Elise?
Zyra actually. So,
Oh.
congrats to Skimmy.
That one, I think laughs is a lot harder.
Was that hard? Was that hard or was that too easy?
That
That was a bit hard.
Laughs
How,
were-
how
laughs
hard
were
were the
good.
first 5 if Kitty didn't guess them instantly?
I think between myself and Skimmy, I would have got the first 2 instantly.
Okay.
So Skimmy would have got the next 2, so like still fairly easy, I guess. But like
Yeah.
Kitty smashed all of them, so.
I'm sorry, guys.
of the
I'm a
5.
lore nerd for League of Legends.
That's okay, and that's why you're Challenger. If
think
you
laughs is
want
the
to
goat.
get Challenger, this is the secret. Just know every single thing you can about the lore. All right? I don't know why I'm doing bloody the Italian hands. For that, but I
Hey,
just
welcome.
Hey, you know. Anyway, look, let's jump back into it. So, you guys at home, it's time for From the Fans. It's your turn to have your time to shine on the damn LCO. What are we doing today? Red Plu or Blue Plu? Want to see the talent sweat? Send us your best would you rathers at LCO and we'll see where the talents stand. So if you don't know what this means, it's like, would you rather drink a Dare iced coffee or chew 5 gum? Now don't answer that because that's probably very, very controversial, but that's an example, right? So, you know, you send a question in like that, maybe less controversial, but we'll see. Do we have any so far? It looks like we got 2 submissions, so we'll see what the first one is. See what the first would you rather is for this From the Fans. Good flex, son. Cool cat. Would you rather have the Shibble playing top or Carbon off-roll on your solo queue team? Now, I'd be happy with both, honestly, from my rank. But you guys, do you have an opinion?
I want Kitty to go first.
So it's
she
the
can cop these.
Scheibel And that's a nickname for Sybil, who's been a pro player previously in the LCO and OPL. So it's either Scheibel playing top or Carbon off-roll. I would honestly prefer Carbon off-roll. I believe he plays all 5 roles quite well to an extent.
Correct.
So, you know, Carbon, if you ever get autofilled on my team, I will never dodge you because you're cracked and you're probably better than most pro players on their roles anyways.
Congrats
Wait,
on
what?
the raise, Kitty.
What about the Scheibel top lane Jace that we saw? I mean, it's,
No. Okay,
it's
so
beautiful.
here's the rule for the Scheibel, okay? If he's off-roll, he can play Shen or Bard, and then I will willingly play with it. I don't know about the rest of his champion pool, but I know Carbon will just be good most of the time.
Yeah, I think Carbon's great as well. Carbon, if you're watching, just remember I said that. Now, let's go on to the next question as well. Let's see what it is. It is mirror plays with would you rather have really long fingernails or really long toenails? If you trim them, they grow back overnight. There's the bloody cravat, right? Now, I would say really long fingernails because I can be more aware of them. And I've recently been stubbing my toe like crazy, so I would not want really long toenails because then I'd yell 10 times as much. What about you guys?
How long we talking?
Long
Really
enough that
long.
it's annoying.
I'm imagining it's those like Guinness World Record ones where they droop down and curl and look all like rowdy.
I don't know about that one.
Surely.
Oh, actually, I have a legit answer. So you would go for the long toenails because your hands, you need them every single day for normal activities. And if you're like constantly sitting down, it doesn't actually affect you in any sort of way. So I would actually go with the long toenails.
But then you're just going to walk around with no shoes on all day.
What
Can
would
I
be more
squat at the
useless
gym?
at the
Don't
gym?
wear-
Or what would
don't
be more
walk.
useful at the gym?
Long toenails, if they're too long at the gym, would not help with squatting, right? Because you want to actually like curl your toes in to grip the floor.
I feel like you couldn't go to the gym with either because you just have an issue. Anyway, look. All right, Kitty, I'm going to let you go. I know you've got that interview to get ready for as well, so just slide you off to the side there and we'll see you in like 5 minutes or something like that. Now, if you guys want to go to the movies with me, please enter this giveaway from Circles.life because Stephen Strange is waiting for you to go and watch his new movie. Of course, it is the new Doctor Strange. There's going to be 5 exclusive screenings, and make sure you drop that exclamation Strange in the chat if you want to go in the running to win those tickets to the exclusive screenings. I believe there's going to be, screenings all around the damn country, so no matter where you're from, you should at least be able to find one. If you're isolated in the middle of nowhere, my DMs are open. Shoot me the tickets. I'll say thank you and smile. I really want to go to the movies
I'm waiting
too.
for that DM to come
That's
through,
all I
bro.
got.
Like, it worked.
I'm just like checking my phone. It's like, oh, no one's won yet. Okay, that's fine. Now, look, we've got to start talking game. We've got to start talking shop. We've got Kanga and Gravitas up first this afternoon. And look, Kanga, they've been looking a little bit better, and we're still sort of figuring out where Scott's position is here, what his sort of role is. Of course, it's jungle, but can you tell me any more about that, Rusty?
Yeah, actually, yesterday, so Kanga played against Chiefs. They lost. It felt like it was just a giant game of mechanics max. You know what I mean? Like, it was just constantly fighting all the time. There was a lot of 1v1s, 2v2s. We saw a fair amount from Scott in that, and I think, like, that was probably the most comfortable we've seen him mechanically and just overall, right? So it seems like he had a good time, and there's a lot of promise behind this player from the little things that we have seen from him. But yeah, Kanga, they were up against Chiefs yesterday, so there's not too much to take from that other than he did unfortunately get completely styled on by Arthur on the Korean Lee Sin spec, but that's inevitable when there is a Korean Lee Sin on your opposing team.
That is always a bit of an issue, isn't it? Now, we've got Gravitas to have a chat about as well. Of course, the man in mid was on the top solo kill players for the league, Skimmy. But what else is going for this team?
Yeah, it was a bit of a rush showing for them last night. Up into Mammoth, they had a composition which ultimately lacked damage. Found it very hard to punish. If the opposition was making a move, they would look to try and counter it, but they just weren't able to ever find that final bit of conviction needed to take down that target. Ultimately, Piglet was strong, but he wasn't really afforded the pressure or the protection, also than anything, to actually be there to really contribute. So they'll be coming to this one, no doubt, hungry for vengeance, looking to showcase what they can do, still hungry for that 3rd win in the season, as Kanga, no doubt, having made multiple roster changes himself, also looking to close things off with a bang.
And look, it's I feel like Gravitas, they can definitely win this match, right? We've seen them looking good over the last couple of weeks, especially with this roster that they're bringing in. You know, the change up in the mix of those bot laners seems to be working out for the most part. Of course, yesterday it didn't quite work out because Mammoth, or Voice in particular, was popping the hell off. So it was a rough affair. Kanga as well, look, they have started to look good, but we're still sort of trying to figure out what Scott's doing. Fido in mid has been a key piece of the puzzle. And this man, you don't want to allow him to play that Tristana because it's that pocket pick, but it also just makes things so much more interesting because it's not quite meta at the moment, right, Rusty?
Yeah, Trist mid's not something that you'll often see. He's really the only person in the LCO that will be considering that pick presently, and it has been copping those constant bans as a result. So that is one of those advantages, you would say, for the side of Kanga, right? If they're able to have those unique champions that genuinely work, then you have the draft lead, perhaps by forcing bans, and this is where like blue-red select conversations even start to shift potentially. So there's something there in that, and I like what Fido's given us so far. Just need a little bit more from the team as a whole.
That's really what it comes down to. And look, last two times these teams played only was, of course, in that jungle role. So it's their first time going up against Scott. And I don't know if that's going to be an advantage, a disadvantage. Obviously, there's a few games now that they're able to look at and see what they can prep for in terms of Gravitas. But look, we got Kitty, who can be brought back in. Quickly, how was your break?
Hello, I enjoyed my break. My producer. Is it my producer? Yes, it is my producer said, how will I wear shoes? Well, I wear slippers so my toes are not, blocked off from sneakers, I believe. But someone I'm sure that loves sneakers as well is Fido, so let's bring him in for the interview. So, Fido, do you wear sneakers or slippers often?
Well, actually, to be honest with you right now, I'm actually barefoot. It's a bit more comfortable. So I guess that's the benefit of playing from a home setup. There you go.
I mean, if you were to go out, would you rather go with the sneakers or the slippers, is my question.
I'd probably say sneakers. Bit easier to walk,
Fair enough, but I am a slipper lover now, but my feet get dirty all the time, so, don't wear slippers if it's very dirty outside. So, we see Kanga committing to developing Scott on the roster with only remaining as assistant coach. What are we expecting out of the team for the remaining games of the regular split?
I think you're just gonna expect aggression, hopefully aggression. We're just trying to build up a bit of synergy, make sure everybody gets along, and clear up the comms as well. Comms are a big thing. We're trying to talk less. We actually played a couple sets completely muted. That was an interesting exercise because that way we can build the comms from the ground up, so we can, decide what's important, what's missing from being muted, and we add that, and that way all the unnecessary stuff gets left out.
It's almost like playing a solo queue game. But talking about solo queue, you've played with Scott and only for these stage games. What's the biggest difference playing with the two junglers, being a mid laner yourself?
I think Jordan had a really clear idea of what he wants to do. Like, he's constantly calling his path, and everybody is adjusting to what he's doing. And that meant that I guess everybody respected him a lot because he's such a crowned player. And if he says something, we just all accept that it's the right call, and we try and adjust our play. Whereas now it's sort of like there's no clear shot caller. We're all just sort of contributing ideas, and sometimes that ends up in everybody doing their own thing. So that's probably the biggest challenge for us right now.
Well, hopefully we do see Kanga fix that issue very soon. Best of luck against Gravitas tonight, and see you on the other side, Fido.
See you later, Kitty. See you in solo queue.
Friends reuniting, that's all that interview felt like. And also, the reason we were talking about shoes before, guys, if you missed from the fans, it was us asking about long nails and stuff. So, it wasn't. Kitty didn't just wanted to start talking about shoes, right? There was a reason. You had to be there, exactly, Skimmy. Now, look, you guys, you have to be in it to win it, and you have to be in the damn fan vote to get those Twitch points in. And you can do my prediction, your own prediction, everyone's damn prediction. You can steal points off of the other people going for the other team. It's fun. It's provocative. It's interesting. It makes the game.
Going.
Yes, that's the one. It's it puts something on the line, right? It makes the games more interesting because it allows you to, put your Twitch points where your mouth is, so to speak. But look, let's have a look at our predictions and how we think this game's gonna go. Of course, Twitch and Dare Fan Vote has my predictions. You got my back, and I believe in you guys. All right, you did me dirty yesterday. That's okay. All right, it's all right. Look, I said some words. I take them all back because now you're gonna do a good job for me. Now you're all on for Kanga. All right, Rusty, talk to me. Why?
I mean, at this point, we're trying to compare two teams that have nothing to lose and only everything to gain, and there's just going to be aggression left, right, and center. So in reality, I've just gone for what I think is going to be the mechanics max, high-ranked players that are just going to be able to do that a little bit better, right? Which is, in my mind, Scott and Fido.
Okay, what about you, Kitty? You haven't had your weigh in on the conversation just yet?
I went with Gravitas last night where it was Mammoth versus Gravitas, and I was quite disappointed on how much they got stomped by Mammoth. So I'm gonna go with Kanga tonight because I do believe Kanga will be the stronger team out of the two.
Okay, what about you, Skimmy? Anything else to add to that, or is it just echoing the same damn thing?
Yeah, I think this is another one of those litmus tests, right, for Scott going up against another team, sort of based on their standings right now. You want to see a strong showing from him, see how he performs, but also just how Fido played. Last time he really had Dejong's number in a matchup where they're both looking to be scaling majors. He was invading as a Corki at like level 4, so I think Rusty's hit the nail on the head. A lot of aggression, and that may just favour Kanga.
I think, that's correct. I'm thinking, look, Gravitas, if we give them a chance here, I'd say it's about a 70-30. Do you think that's pretty accurate, Rusty?
Yeah, I feel like 70-30 is perfectly fine, yeah. It's hard to pick an exact number for this one, Max, so I'm aligned.
Yeah, it's interesting because we say these things in terms of percentages, but then we get the Dare fan votes, and that can either be extremely aligned, or, you've just got one team, one org that has like a fan base that's crazy, and it's
yesterday
just bloody
was
90-10.
Like 71 Gravitas, right, against Mammoth, and we know Mammoth are some of the most vocal fans you've ever seen in chat, so... Yeah. It's hard to know exactly what you're going to get for those Dare fan votes.
It's
say
that,
60-40.
Or people are just trying to keep tanking my predictions. They're doing what I was already doing for me anyway, So, they get the choice. That's the glory of it, right? That's the fun of it. You guys get to ruin or fix my predictions. But if you do both, then you look pretty silly. So figure out which one you're doing, all right? Align in Twitch chat. Which way you're going
chat to align.
right now. Yes.
They probably can't even count to 5, Mac, let alone align on predictions.
That's a great test. If you guys can count to 5,
let's count in Twitch
Rusty will be very impressed with you, and I know you can do it. So start trying to count to 5 right now. If someone ruins it, at them, yell at them, and start again. And I'm sure by the end of this game, I'll see it at least once. Hey,
should
come
be 10.
on. Give him more than that. Give him more than that, Rusty. 10?
10.
Oh.
Count to 10.
You know what my favourite one is?
I think I'm counting more.
It's the copy paste. So it's like, let's build a ladder. And it's just people copy pasting the rungs of the ladder. And it just goes, and then somebody types in like a real message and the ladder's broken.
Yeah, okay.
I like those ones.
Well, guys, just before we jump into game, I've worked up a beautiful from the fans from you guys as well. So let's have a look at what would you rather this one's going to be before we jump on into the game. So it's Navantian. That's what I'm going to call you. Sorry. Would you rather play an ADC in mid or a mage in bot? Well, I think there's not really anything wrong with either because there's been metas where it's allowed it. Yeah. But I guess, I'm an idiot. So, Rusty, you flex sometimes, right? Not only at the gym, but in game. So, what would you prefer?
Yeah, I mean, if the question is what I would rather do, the answer is to play mid lane regardless, I think. So, I would probably play an AD in mid. Lucian is my go-to. I have absolutely annihilated certain people with AP Lucian mid in my time. Up until Diamond, I found that was like the critical mass where people started getting hands. So AP Lucian mid.
What about you, Kitty? Of course, you're not always support, right?
Well, I suck at ADCs, let's just put that out of the way, so I would always go with a mage in bot lane, but in the current meta we've seen Kai'Sa in mid lane, we see Ziggs in bot lane, so both are viable and very realistic picks.
Okay, I could definitely see that working out. I enjoy ADCs just that much more than mages, and look, on that note, Champ Select's ready, so ladies and gents, game number 1 of the day, coming at you.
I'm with you on that one there, Mac, and we might not have the hands for it anymore, but it doesn't seem to matter because we get to watch the pros do it just a fraction.
Skimmy, you play
better than
whatever
us.
you're given because you play ARAMs.
Well, look, sometimes I'll go into the Summon's Rift. I actually played a game the other day with Aladoric. I played top lane Zeri, got absolutely bodied by a Katarina. Yeah, got absolutely bodied by Katarina in laning phase. So we were like 0-5. And then we ended up winning the game. I had a positive KDA. So I said, all I can do is team fight. We've already figured this one out, Rusty, with our 1v1s. I can't lane.
Yeah, you don't. That's why minions aren't involved. You want to be a smite down to top lane, bro.
That's why I play
that's your
ARAM. It's
only
just
option.
team fight on repeat.
Yeah, straight up. But no Zeri in this one, Skimmy, because we are already seeing that banned by Kanga. So hopping into the draft real quick here. Again, a lot of target bans towards Phyto, but no Tristana this time around, which is interesting if Kais is going to be considered flexible. Skimmy, I will just throw that one out there. Just quickly looking towards the standard, I guess at this point I'm sick of talking about it, but like the ADCs that we're going to see banned in the ban phase, Jinx, Zeri, Aphelios, and Draven are going to be taken off the board. Now the reason Draven seems to be a ban for me is one, Limas plays it, and two, that should be a Kai'Sa ADC. I think that's the two real tells there.
Yeah, and if you're looking at a lane bully, then you know, Draven, Lucian, certainly at the very top of that table for discussion of what they could offer. It is kind of refreshing, to see the move to Kai'Sa. Obviously, the flexibility not only in its position, but the itemization as well. The pure AD, pure AP is a hybrid mix of the both to try and evolve all those abilities. We'll have to wait and see, but we're seeing more and more of this now coming through towards the tail end of the split. More of this Ezreal Karma is an instant response on red side.
Yeah, this as Karma is something that we're going to see from them a fair bit. It seems like full confidence, they're just going to lock this one in. It's ball in Gravitas court, the best jungler that I expected to see banned all week. We said as much on Tuesday's games, Monday's games rather, today's Tuesday. On Monday's games, Hecarim is probably the best jungler right now in slot, I want to say. Probably is at least S tier, right? One of the S tier junglers that do exist running around. So very confident lock in here by Gravitas. It should be no surprises. The only surprise from Kanga's side might be, oh, nobody can play this pick, right? Remember that he is a top laner that has just recently had to transition to jungle. So we don't know the depths of his champion pool just yet.
No, we certainly don't. And we did ask the conversation, you know, what would he default to when Trundle is banned away? But he showed us a handful of new champions. So, you know, you need to be ready for that. And the Hecarim's certainly going to be fitting off the bill for it. Tryndamere getting locked in as well. Feels like a hot minute since we last saw one, but it has gone under the radar. Still is incredibly strong. No doubt has evaded the nerf bat a little too long, but is going to be very strong in the hands of Lived, or even Fido if he's got that in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, it could go both directions for sure. Definitely does seem like a champion Fido would be able to play just by default. We're seeing a lot of mid bans now going towards the sides of Gravitas still though, so just keep that in mind. It does seem like they really want to force a good matchup in mid. Both Azilian and Ryze have tools to handle a Tryndamere, which is why you do kind of get that inclination that it could just be a Fido pick. And Gravitas on the other side, they will get rid of the Xin Zhao, the Trundle's already gone, and the Viego is going to be the next ban of choice. And I feel like Viego is one of those picks that is good, but I've never really thought it needed to be banned, right? Like, it feels like it's an A tier compared to some of the S tier champions, such as perhaps the Lee Sin that you're now seeing.
Yeah, well, that's all that he's revealed so far was the Zen and the Viego, so certainly showcasing that you're going to have to give us something a little bit different. Maybe saw that VOD of being played by Arthur one too many times and said, okay, it's my time to shine. I'll see what I can do with this pick.
Up till 4 AM watching the 1v1 in slow-mo.
Depression hours.
That's just gamer hours. Waiting to see what they go for here now. You'd expect, right, solo laners to be revealed. It should just be a Kai'Sa playing AD. That will be all but confirmation. Now, Tryndamere into the Zoe is what you're expecting to see. I don't think we've seen this matchup, but in my head, Zoe has good push, Tryndamere has an incredible amount of kill threat. So you do have to play really good League of Legends to weather your way through that one, if that's where Kanga are putting it.
I was very curious how Dejong would approach this one, because both times he's always played a global. He's played a Galio in their first meeting, they won that game. The second game he played the Ryze. I wondered if that would be the way he looked to try and navigate this one, just avoid Fido in the lane and just go elsewhere. But he's obviously said, I want the damage, I want the skill check. I am the Zoe player right now for LCO 2022. And going to showcase what this matchup looks like.
Yeah, and we'll see the Gragas locked in last by Vixpa, and the immediate response from Kanga is going to go towards the Gwen. So with the Lee Sin already secured, you're looking at Lived playing the Gwen. Not the first time he'll be playing it either, into the Gragas matchup. So a lot of push, a lot of threat actually from all of Kanga. Pretty much across the board here, their composition is fantastic. Hecarim is the one place where I feel like you can have a pretty good time overall through your jungle clear, right? You're a little bit faster, perhaps. You scale up a little bit faster as well, and you're strong throughout the entire game, where, as we spoke about, you know, Lee Sin kind of goes to that ebb and flow if he's not fed, of going from, like, super incredibly useful to the mid-game drop-off where he can, like, one-hit a carry maybe, but he's always trading his own life, to the late game where he's just insanely valuable for the single kick, and transitions more to, like, a supportive pure role. I think that's where the Hecarim kind of just stays consistently good skimmy, and that's maybe the one point of variance here. And of course, a Nautilus and a Kai'Sa bot lane. The second Kai'Sa we've seen playing the AD role here in the LCO, definitely rising up in popularity. Into an Ezreal is a pretty free time compared to some other matchups.
Yeah, I have certainly seen some situations where the Kai'Sa has a bit of a field day, landing the W as the wind-up for the True Shot Barrage goes out in close proximity and says, try and catch these hands because you can't land those skill shots. Should be a fun one. We'll get to see how that one does pan out, as we have been critical of Kanga's bot lane at the best of times, but they've had their moments. And Lemus looked quite exceptional on that Ezreal last night into a formidable AD carry such as Ray. So hopefully he can continue at that pace. Get to see something strong from them. But as a whole, it looks good. It does look good from the side of Kanga. A lot of aggression, a lot of in-your-face, taking checks to showcase what you can do. And Gravitas, I see engage, but I also see a whole host of disengage too, Rusty.
Yeah, there is a bunch of disengage, actually, for both teams, honestly, right? Like, the Nautilus is going to be the one key component for the side of Gravitas that will always be going forwards. But even Vixpa on the Nautilus can play for peel and for defensive styles, right? If it's the Kai'Sa that's the sole-fed member of the team, or the Zoe. But you've got to deal with the Tryndamere, deal with a Gwen, deal with a Lee Sin, all wanting to go forward with tools to disengage themselves and kite, but definitely wanting to see Kanga be forward in their play style.
Well, let's be loaded into this one as we kickstart the second day of Week 8. We are blitzing through this one, well and truly on our way towards the playoffs journey as these two teams look to round out their final 3 games with some semblance of victory. Let's check in with the coaching staff and welcome back Coach Drac from the side of Kanga. And I suppose we can open the floor and sort of start with, discussing how the split's been. We've had multiple conversations talking about growth and setting our sights on foundations and pillars and working towards split 2. So would you say you've met those milestones? Are you happy with the growth that, the team and yourself have both made?
It's never easy when you have to change any amount of a roster during a split. A reset's part of what you've been working on in the lead up, and then you've got to rebuild that all over again. I'm happy that the leadership group within Kanga, like the knowledgeable players within the team who've been around a while, have developed nicely. Their work ethic and knowledge is really important, not just to drive our growth, but also just the direction of the team in general. I like to emphasize powering players to directly impact team review and draft plans and helping them communicate that information. But I think that I will always feel like personally there's more I could have or should have done to help the team win games when we don't win everything, even if the goal's growth and development.
Yeah, obviously. And I suppose now, you look at only a handful of games remaining, so what is the clear focus now that the weights are off of not having the burden of playoffs looming?
It's still functionally the same. We're very focused on making sure that our direction is good, that we keep developing how we are. Like you saw yesterday, we threw a lot more punches against Chiefs, and yes, we were down 10,000 gold, but we still won some fights and things like that. I want the players to continue to grow and be confident to execute their strategies on stage in the way that we practiced in scrims.
Fantastic. I mean, that's all we can ask for at the end of the day. So I love to see it when a team doesn't feel under that level of stress. Well, I wish you boys the best of luck. It's been a pleasure to watch, and we'll catch up next time.
Thank you very much.
So we saw a very funny interaction, bottom skimmy. 1 minute 30 into this, Hook does connect. We spoke about this interaction yesterday. If anyone missed that, Ezreal will always be able to buffer the E out of Nautilus hooks, as long as that cooldown is there, so the best Nautilus will be able to hit a hook twice in a row. The interaction we saw bottom was at 1 minute and 30, both supports who warded the second bush early recalled for sweepers. They both swept at the exact same time. So it was just a complete storch off. And Vixpa and Piglet just a little bit too scary. And did push them back without minions there to protect from a hook connecting, right? As nobody doesn't know.
He doesn't know. Scott's gone in. Thanks for the red buff. Appreciate that leash. And will they go toe-to-toe? Because the rotations are happening between bot and mid. Decided no, it is going to phase out. Nobody doesn't want it. And Scott's successful
Scott straight up wins that 1v1, but does, as you mentioned, notice that the lanes are coming. The team calls it and will back away. He's gone mid though.
Oh, Dejong could be in trouble right here. He's hit that sleepy trouble bubble, forced to flash away, and the Sonic Wave, well, I guess Scott's just doing Fido a favor, saying I could just trim that wave for you as it comes in, but ultimately there was nothing going on there.
The scary thing about that trade is how winning it actually was for Dajong. Remember, he's still got Ignite in hand. Flash being used is great, but it's more of an implication of the Lee Sin wanting to come back and make the play happen a second time. Just because that health trade was so massively positive, Fido does kind of get pushed a little bit more away perhaps from minions on the next wave. It depends how aggressively Dajong wants to play it. And the whereabouts of the Hecarim, who's obviously not going to be providing anything just yet. Scuttlecrab into mid lane perhaps could be the play. Bot's been zoned back. And I wanted to talk about this as well real quick, Skimmy, just the runes that these teams are running. When you're playing into an Ezreal Karma lane, you feel like the obvious choice for hooking is the Karma, right? And Karma often wants to play in the bush, so she's going to be the likely target most of the time. But so far, we've only really seen the hook go towards the Ezreal, who can just buffer that with the E and walk himself out to safety.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to get more creative to hit those hooks, right? And this is like, when I'm playing a melee support, I'm not in the LCO to be fair, but when I'm playing a melee support into a range support, I will run Hex Flash. And I will be flashing on you at level 1 if you overstep to punish the support, because I have Hex Flash afterwards, right? That's the advantage that I have that you don't get because I'm a melee tank.
I think we have had conversations also about bush control in that laning phase, just allowing the Enchanted to get away with murder just like this, and that's going to be the Airy connecting as the flash from Vixbit is just not enough to secure his own life. First blood found here, and potentially that's some damage on the Piglet, but he's just okay.
And the main point is the second you cede lane control to an Ezreal and a Karma, you actually are just losing that lane, right? They're able to... The second you're stuck under a turret, you are going to get harassed. Mantra, Karma Qs, Ezreal poke off cooldown constantly there. And Vixbit out of a bush means he's just a sitting duck and a free target. Very nicely done by the side of Kanga in the lane where they definitely need a lead, right? Kitty mentioned this just before in Discord. I just want to bring this up as well. Name all of the hard crowd control that exists on the side of Kanga, because there is one. The point there is that you want to be ahead. You want to be able to play with your lead. You're relying on moving fast, kiting, and dealing damage while kiting. So if you're ahead, it actually still works.
Yeah.
If you're behind, to actually lock down your opponents that are stronger than you, that gets really tough.
It does get tough. And we have seen teams like Peace and Chiefs pull off compositions like this, right, with a lot of damage. Light CC, but nothing hard hitting and sort of overlapping to lock down a key target. Never seen them be in a position where they are threatened to be behind. And today sort of dig themselves out of that rapidly expanding hold. But I'm curious about this bot lane, right? How does Piglet and Vixbit salvage this one? Do they look to try and abuse Ezreal when he's on his own farming solo experience? Or do they get caught out like this? Scott with Lionel hits the blast cone and comes straight back into lane. It's an easy picking.
Yeah, and look at the wave, right? Like, if Kanga wants to, this is a freeze. Limass will crash one minion, the 3 melees, range rather, will still stay alive. This means that the Drake is free. It means that Kai'Sa, without any knowledge of where Scott and Lionel are, cannot push that wave in, so he is just losing in his 2v2 now. And it's as simple as winning a 2v2 play, bringing Scott down to hit that home even further, and now the game gets unbearably hard on the bottom side of the map.
So it does. And you're going to see that reflected not only in the CS leads, but some experience leads later on if it continues at this pace. Does obviously allow Kanga then to find themselves the first major objective of the game, collect the Mountain Drake at that. I'm very curious though about this mid lane, right? The fact that Dejong's had his flash down hasn't really been punished for it. I think there was an elegance to sort of what that matchup could look like. We'll hold that thought for 2 seconds though, as another gank from Nobody goes topside. Lives all in for the kill, and he's going to get it! In a 1v2, he takes down the Gragas.
That was without ultimate as well, so it doesn't even have the needlework there. Scott mid.
He is, out goes the shout. He's flashed forward preemptively. He was hoping that Dejong was going to go through that magical portal, but that wasn't to be the case. He needs to hit that Undying Rage. Out you go, and in you come. And that's a kill I'll take. And now they're playing tag as to who takes that kill.
They were drawing straws real quick while Fido was just squirming around on the spot, like, please just kill me. He does go down, it ends up being a 1-for-1. The funny thing about that trade in mid is Fido flashes, Dajong simply takes the flash.
Yeah.
Right? It's the Zoe effect. You really need to be careful with how you play that one out. Ends up so far under turret that does just result in a 1-for-1 trade. Ignite being saved by Dajung from the earlier skirmish. So, I mean, you take that. The tragedy is that, of course, it has to go to the Hecarim when you've kind of earned it with the Ignite. But they weren't sure if that last tick was going to be lethal, and they wanted to ensure the kill happened. So better safe than sorry is the case here from the side of Gravitas. But now nobody 2-0 in this Hecarim does have to make something happen. Right now it is clearing a Herald on wards.
So he does have to make something happen. He's only got CDR boots, but he does have the cooldowns to keep Kanga interested as Liv jumps in, level 8, and this time he does have the needlework. This time he does pack a punch. He's immune to damage. And he's immune to your influence on the map to try and steal this one away from Scott.
And again, just not properly sweeping the area. Very easy trinket ward, I believe it was, that just shows where they are. A second wall gets placed. They have the numbers advantage here as well, or just general strength, more importantly, right? No Gragas ultimate, no Hecarim really available to do too much damage just yet. If you look at his items, it's just boots. So, it's not something exceptional. It's not even like a Predator starting of a fight. It is a phase rush for during the combat staying fast. And if he had, to be perfectly honest with you, Skimmy, if he had a Caulfield's Warhammer and a Sheen in base, why would you start Herald?
Yeah.
At what point was hitting the Herald a good idea?
We've had discussions like this before, right, where teams have had gold leads, but it's gold in the bank as opposed to gold actually on the map, and sort of what it's actually meant as a result. Yeah, unfortunately for them, a pick, a situation which has potentially cost them in the grand scheme of things. Certainly going to accelerate Kanga that much further into this game, because as fed as nobody is with his own scoreline, Scott is quietly achieving with all those assists racked up and the amount of objective control they have.
Yeah, Scott's been doing work. So far, so good from him. He's just been making a lot of good decisions, right? I like the disengage at the red buff. I think it's a solid sign of the communication from Kanga overall. An LPL player goes all in there, to be fair, but Scott isn't one. He's still just finding his feet, and he's got bot lane winning. So, I mean, I will say this in a very blanket manner, it is very easy to play jungle on the bot side if your bot lane is winning.
Look at that, though. Great blast cone disengage to follow with the Sonic Wave, and he goes. Pops a shield from Lionel and says, no harm, no foul. This wave is pushing, much to your point. This lane is winning.
Herald going to get summoned, basically just confirms the entirety of the turret at this point in the game as well. 10 minutes in. Top.
Liv's having fun with it. Oh no, the explosive cask. It's an airball, but Liv takes those. Another solo kill.
Yeah, 300 gold shutdown on the Gwen as well. So, I mean, no crowd control, maybe needing leads, maybe needing to play super fast League of Legends. I mean, they're doing it, right? They are just getting kills and damage left, right, and center. That bot lane turret being broken, second charge or not, very easy to map flip now for the side of Kanga. I think Ezreal and Karma going mid really does open the map up for them, right? They've got a Tryndamere and a Gwen, two champions that are pretty comfortable being in a side lane. And then you have a Lee Sin that works pretty nicely with the Karma and the Ezreal for either protecting them if the enemy team is trying to engage, or dealing damage from Fog of War. And that's really the game plan here.
Nice blind trouble bubble. Nation's going to commit to this one, and a bit of an indication as to how much damage it doesn't do, as it's just out of range. But yeah, very curious to sort of see how Daejun can continue to navigate this one. Certainly going to have a lot of diving threats on his head. Going to be very on the money with making sure he can dart around all over the show, picking up all the summoners expended when those big fights do break out later on into the game. But still waiting to see what nobody can do. He's put a lot of attention topside, right, to try and keep Tyrant in the mix of things, but Liv has very steadily pulled away.
I mean, Daejun is about to suffer from the success of his opponent's side lanes, right? Like, they're going to be able to plant mid. Zoe's not a side lane champion. She's going to have a pretty rough time if the lane's protracted, is longer, and there's no outer turret to protect you. Gravitas are the ones that make a little trade in response. They're going to put Vixper and Piglet to the top lane. And nobody engaging.
Yeah, nobody looking for this one right now. Lionel going to cop it, but he's got a shield, and he's got a lot of damage. He's got a backed up Ezreal. That's there with the flash, making it look ever so easy. Now Piglet caught in no man's land, hitting the killer instinct to try and disengage away, but in the flash too. And a true barrage is on cooldown, so they can't do much more than that. It's a bit of a mess, and Gravitas are coming into this one. Single fighter, all taking on the gauntlet. The all-burning summoners just to fall down like flies.
I mean, they'll get a nice little paddle star there but nothing beyond that. It's just losing for Gravitas. Kanga looking to push in. I think Trinda's taking Krugs and now Raptors, and could have dove mid if Dajung isn't careful. Scott also still on the prowl. And just a nice little trade. Limas, to be perfectly honest with you, just had a freak out flash. Like, he just assumed there was going to be an entire legion of soldiers or something hiding in the fog of war, but the flash was nice.
Well, he's certainly not a player that's going to be saving flash for next game. I can tell you that much. As is a common call of people saying I was holding it for the very last moments.
Certain people that lift twice, one would say.
Too obsessed with the idea of min-maxing, but not him. 2 games at Ezreal, and it's been looking very sharp so far. So, against himself in a very comfortable position, up with completed boots, a full Essence Reaver over that of Piglet, which is really hoping that it can find that moment. 2 to 3 items, classic Kaiser. Big reason why it started off so strong towards the start of Season 12, but then a lot of discussion went around, well, just need too many items, right? Hence Jinx and Aphelios and all the rest became that much more prominent in the bot lane position.
Yeah, Kaiser does take a fair bit of time. Has the ramp up as well with the tier. But Ezreal exists for similar reasons. It's just the difference between the two is Ezreal can survive laning phase in most situations by pressing Q. Kaiser is a lot lower range also. Also, we've had Gwen in a 1v2, right, against Piglet and Vixma for a while now. And I do really think that Liv probably just wins that. So it's not the lane assignments that I would be looking for. Good night.
He would go for it as well, none lived.
Lived would. I mean, right now, 3-1, full Mythic completed compared to a half-stacked Manamune. I think that's a fight you take any day of the week if Nautilus wastes a hook on you.
And in terms of really what Gravitas had to try and disengage with, well, you got the double ultimates from those two, but you've got an exhaust. Would that be enough? Oof. Scott's hit a lot of really good Sonic waves, but they've just been a fraction out of range.
Herald 2, the question is, do Gravitas consider contesting? They have got Mythics now on both solo laners. The jungler is still a little bit behind the mark on that front. But nobody has been struggling, right? If you take stock of the farm between junglers, even though he has a 2-1 scoreline, I'm pretty sure Tryndamere has just as much jungle CS as nobody does.
Yeah.
He's been taking everything from him, and you've got Liv doing a very similar thing right now as well, I believe, hitting the Krugs and the bottom lane. And so I think Kanga, who have resolved to do Herald, it should be free. Just see how Gravitas play this out, because Liv knows, right? They watched the Hecarim cross through mid.
I think some of those concerns you mentioned before about weak side lanes as it stands with the Gragas behind, with the Zoe not too adept in this position to do so. It's hurting them. They're unable to get any control in the mid lane. Freebie, really, for Kanga to pick up whatever they like objective-wise.
The thing that I'm seeing the most, and this has just been me being a mini-map goblin more than anything else, is I haven't seen Vixper on the same screen as nobody unless it was for that Herald fight. I don't think I've seen those two doing the same thing once other than that. So the vision control that Kanga have, even on the side of the map where they have less people, is presumably going to be stronger. Like, this wave has crashed. Piglet wants to step up to hit the wave. Vixper will walk to the closest lane push to clear it. They're not even game to check try. Like, they haven't wandered down river together yet. They really need to start being on the same screen, I think, to get something done.
Begins now. And you said that Liv will take the 1v2 on. Well, will he take on the 1v3? True Shot Barrage is coming up, trimming the wave, making life a little bit easier for him to go for that one. And here we are. We're on for it. Onslaught of Shadows, is that enough? He's inside the circle. He's been exhausted. Lindenberg goes on through. And for so much damage, he's trimmed them all down to 30%. But there's just not enough backup ready to take him down. Lionel was there, but Lemus has his eyes set on taking out 2 turrets in the mid lane.
Another charge here. Watch the Tryndamere as well on the flank. Fighter going to have a look at Dajung. Summoners are there.
He's hit the ghost, he's hit the flash, he's in his face, he's hit the spin, and he is winning. He's put to sleep, but he's having some great dreams thinking about that kill.
Ghost Flash Tryndamere with Gale Force against the Zoe, who could steal your summoner spells, is the most anime battle you'll ever see in League of Legends. Just blink of an eye, they've dashed 7 different times in different locations, and we can't keep up. But it is just going to result in Fido taking him out. Second turret mid lane as well, so the gold lead's going to stretch pretty largely from this also. And another free Drake, which means Infernal Soul Point is just going to be 5 odd minutes away. Excuse me, this one is becoming almost insurmountable for the Gravitas camp. And the tragedy is it has started through a lot of just good laning of Kanga, right? A couple of solo kills in each respective lane. A good 2v2. And the ganks mid equalize that as well.
Yeah, and that mid play, it almost felt like a bit of an Earth game. Just the rate of which it went down with, right? You know, you're hitting literally everything you have to offer, and you're trying to say to Deja, we'll try stealing all of this at once. You just can't sequence through that much, such a short amount of time. But, yeah, a scary proposition to face yourself in, right? We talked about it last night in terms of bounties and sort of checking in with how far behind you are. 6k lead now for Kanga. Big bounties if Gravitas can get a sniff in for either a Baron or that 4th and final Dragon. They're going to look to try and make a play in mid lane, and that's really what you're after. A fantastic shutdown on a key member, and it goes the way of Piglet.
Yeah, I mean, that's super important. If they want to stay in this game, they need to start hunting for those objective bounties for those shutdown golds as well on kills. And they do find themselves a lead mass. Both summoners still ready, and unfortunately just drops. Well played by Gravitas to find the pick. Mid lane outer turret. Still going to be hard to contest. You can see the Tryndamere is already pathing down. And Lived is here. So they're trying to remedy the issue, at least temporarily, if not fight.
It's going to be a fraction hard to try and force that fight. Even if they do look overextended, you're really looking towards Scott for a crazy dash to a ward or a flash kick to isolate a key member. Fighter burning those summoners made life a little bit harder for him on that flank towards Baron's side.
And Skimmy, I know that Coach Drac is listening to us, so I'm just going to say this one out loud for his sake. Lionel has decided to go for the Moonstone instead of a Shirelia's in a comp that wants to move fast. It's a bit weird, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't really think they're suffering from poke.
The word grief?
I mean, you could argue, yeah, Zoe and Kaiser are going to offer that later in the game, but right now, just being on top of them is enough, surely.
No, but like they don't have any crowd control. They need to move fast. It is like the core tenet of their comp where they will always have damage, and he has managed to build the one support item that provides nothing besides the shield power. I still think this is a Shirelia's angle. 99 times out of 100.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Give that with the Kid of Karma already, and very hard to escape, right? All the mobility you'd ever need.
Dude, my dude shields everyone in a team fight. They all get movement speed. Shirelia's is bonkers on Karma.
Mobility top side. Fido hitting the Gale Force preemptively, forcing out Tyrant's ult, forced to zone him away. Back to base he goes. Just so much control, not only in the mid lane with 2 turrets now taken down by that successful Herald charge, the second of the game, but also in side lanes. Gravitas can't wrestle that back. They won't get a shot to even look
this
at
is
some of these bounties.
Though. They walked past Vision with intent to Baron, so Gravitas are aware of this. Is this a throw pit or is this the play?
Bishop Barrage goes out, tickles Vexper. Missile connects from Kaiser. Their instinct is there. Do they commit? Do they go all in? They're not throwing this one. He's stolen it. I do not believe it. Nobody has claimed the Baron. That's a huge bounty. He's going to pay his life for that one, but can the rest of the Gravitas get out of this one? Gravitas Vexper buffers the hook, but is now shielding all that damage as Lemus runs them down with a double kill. A kick away from Scott. There is the isolated member. Lemus now with a triple kill as Jessel starts to really shine. Great Baron steal.
Yeah, nice Baron steal. Remember, it has an objective bounty attached to that as well. I think it was a cheeky 500 gold extra to the rest of the team. So you take that, right? 400 gold per person brings back a decent amount of the gold difference. There is still an Infernal Soul up in a minute. So I don't think Kanga are upset. But that buys time, that gives them space. The issue that Gravitas run into from here, and you will see this reflected after the Baron is stolen, Hecarim will just ult in. He'll ghost, he'll take it. He's trying to run away already. He's not committed to the fight. Gravitas, who are also not committed to the fight, are way too committed to protecting each other. There is actually 0 worlds out of 10 where Tyrant should stand next to Vixper and try and bodyguard. You've just lost your own life in an attempt to save someone when you have no tool to save him, right? So just leave and just accept that 2 people are going to die, or as a team commit to the fight, right? And try and bring 5 people there. So in 2 minds on the side of Gravitas, but the steal from nobody is clutch.
I think we've talked a lot about sort of Barons in general, right? And how many times we have the dances and sort of what it looks like for a team in the lead. Surely Kanga going to be licking their wounds to that one, thinking, why wasn't it just a dance? Why have we given Gravitas that potential out in this game? We were ahead so much gold. We still are 6k ahead. But it's bought time for Gravitas to look at this now Soul Point Decider fight.
Can Gravitas do anything about this now that their AD is half health?
Limus trouble. I think Limus is dead. This has been ripped
They've
apart.
got 2.
One trouble bubble is all it takes. 2 kills found. Piglet on the board again. 3-0-1. Rough and lane, but popping off in the team fights. That's where it counts. Fido now running members down. He's got the Undying Rage active. He's found himself a double on the back end of that team fight. Lionel looking to try and lock members in place to allow members to take them down. But Fido's just too strong. He's got too much fury. He's got too much sustain. And he's got himself a quadra kill.
That was the most insanely risky fight for Kanga. That could have gone wrong so many ways, but they managed to just Fido gap their way through the entirety of that team fight. That is a 700 gold bounty. That is a 6-1-3 Tryndamere just gallivanting towards the mid lane after an easy fight for him. The rest of the team did nothing. They got smashed by Gravitas in that fight. That was so dangerous. If they lose that, if they lose the Tryndamere as well, he has a shutdown bounty. They delay the Infernal Soul, and they have Baron in hand to take turrets. So this game was suddenly on a nice edge and was close to being even when it has been comprehensively one-sided. But Fido is the hero of the hour. Gets in straight into the backline, gets drowsy, but will get immediately woken up, and just E-flash straight into the backline, 2-hitter carry. And this is where it's messy from Gravitas, right? Nobody needs to be working with Tyron and with Vixpa, and they all need to be hitting the same target. I don't actually care which one it is, Kimmy. But the fact that it was all of them one at a time means that Fido just gets to tear them apart.
And that flash, honestly, won it for Fido. If he gets hooked there by Vexper, it's lights out. Look how low he was. But that one reset was just enough to keep him on a knife's edge. Flirting with danger, flirting with death, even with ultimate no longer available. Give himself 4 juicy kills in that exchange. That confirms they get the Infernal Soul. Extra damage continues their gold lead as well. Was a very dicey situation those last 5 minutes of gameplay here. But Kanga will be able to breathe a sigh of relief.
And it is an unfortunate moment for Gravitas, right, where the dust will settle and they do just have to accept reality. But this is just rough for them now. Dajo, even staying at that inner turret is dangerous. The rest of his team's now about to show defending mid lane at the inhibitor, so he would be separated. Would die, so you can see how scared now he has to be. Actually, Kanga, it seems like it's just going to be a reset. Very patient play, I guess.
Providing their time.
Well, the thing is, right, like, we've spoken about this a couple times now. Their composition obviously isn't just like a meathead 5v5 engage Malphite angle, right? Like, they have to still play correctly with their ranges, so the Ezreal Karma poking with the Lee Sin probably still have to play towards a side lane to find the most success. No Heralds to summon, there's no Baron buff in hand, that was stolen from them. So what I'm expecting to see is Limas working with Lionel and Scott through mid to get mid priority, and then they play towards the Tryndamere, play towards the Gwen. But I think what we just saw, like legitimately what we just saw was like a minute to a minute and a half of resets from Kanga into just another reset. Like, I'm pretty sure Limas went back to base, came out, did a Gromp, went back to base.
He's got us a count on speed dial. You need more money, buy that item, complete it. You can balance these books. Not taking any chances in this game. Scott's going to take that one. Why wouldn't he? He's been exhausted, he's been bodied, and he might have just died as a result of this one. One blast code into a second, just dodging that trouble bubble. He was in a lot of trouble, but he's just got out of harm's way.
Oh, Infernal Soul, how do you do to Piglet? Just actually half health him. Bit of a taste your own medicine there for the AP Kai'Sa players running around. And the fact that Scott lives...
Power spike though with that Prowler score, right? So a lot of lethality. He's just going to shred these squishy targets now.
Oh, big time, yeah. The ultimate's going to be devastating. There's no Galio combos this time around. It's not Mammoth, but Prowler's Claw is the way to go. Mythic passive, pretty broken. This should be free, right?
Surely. Tell me it doesn't happen again.
This is no way, right?
They're coming. Surely it's dead. Chat, it's dead, right? Okay. It is gone. Elder up in 2 minutes. Now Gravitas surely.
Ow.
By that time, there is the pain.
And they aren't going to push mid just yet. So they still have, in terms of order of priority, now that they actually have the Baron buff, you're looking at top and bot inner turrets should be free. Probably top inner turret first, just because you can see all the vision they have set up already. So they have nice deep wards. Live no teleport though means that they don't necessarily want to play 3 lanes at once, and Fido
On a bit of a tear right now. He's being hit by the Nobody and hit by the Vixper.
Yeah, Fido very far away from the rest of his team, you would say, trying to get to his side lane, walks into the tri-bush without knowing where a single one of them are. So it's a small detail in the scope of the game, but it's 1,000 gold into the pockets of a Piglet once again. He'll be extremely happy with that money.
I think we look at that one and we say it's one of those classic calls of he was buying space. What has it really done? Well, 3 members committed to him down bot side. Let's open up the floodgates. Kanga then to put 4 of their members in the mids and take an hit. Now, obviously, it's not ideal, but we'll take that. Silver lining.
It is just going to be... The issue now, right, is it's just going to have to be a disengaged play for Drake type of angle again. I think the reason that they did position more for mid-bot instead of mid-top is the Elder Dragon is going to be up very soon. So they have some wards down, not a crazy amount on Kanga's side. They still need to try and play from reset. And the thing is, like, trying to talk through what Kanga are going to do next, it doesn't matter. They have an Infernal Soul Ezreal with so many items that if he hits a Q, throw the playbook out.
Yeah.
Like, he's just killed someone.
He's got stopwatch, he's got flash. It would feel very risky now to overextend or overcommit with ultimates towards him in particular.
This is a wide flank.
Flashbacks to Canyon in the LCK playing Jarvan. He's been undetected, he's got the moves, he's got the vision, and he's got the kill target locked in mind. On towards Vixper, forced to flash away, in jump Scott. A flash kick as he falls on down, but his job is done in his team fight. It's a triple kill again for Lemus. Why would it not be? He's hit double digits, 10 kills in this game. It's another quad, and it's an ace. There's no doubt Kanga will close out this game.
Yeah, quads only today, unfortunately. Not going to be seeing any pentakills, but they'll flash over the walls. They'll be able to use the Baron buff, and that will just be the game. Scott quietly achieving there with a nasty kick and a great flank angle as well from Liv. So huge team fight by Kanga, and in the end, a very casual and easy dub.
The only player left in that book was the Elder. Gravitas were drawn in like a moth to the flames, and Kanga were prepared. He had the idea, the vision, the positioning, and the performance to back it up. Might just be a day of high multi-kills. Would love to see some bangs, some explosive action take place as we round things out, with teams still fighting for pride really more than anything right at this stage. No weights bogging you down with expectations or preparations or upset potential. Just straight front to back, have a go at it, and enjoy what we've seen. Did you enjoy that one, Matt? Because it certainly had the makings of a tale of two halves, but after that Baron steal, it still veered towards Kanga.
Yeah, it certainly seemed that way for a little while, but just, not long enough. Towards the end, though, great couple of team fights, and you could really see that gold diff. Kanga on the blue base side of the jungle, and then really just hitting him with their wallets. Because Gravitas, they were grouped up, and, sometimes that's a double-edged sword, right? It's like, cool, we're all here, we can play this one together. But when you got Kanga just completely collapsing upon you from every different way and just cutting him off at the pass, really, it was just a rough time for them, all things considered. Now, look, I thought that this game was going to finish, though, about 10 minutes earlier than it did, and it just kept on going. And I was thinking, is there an angle where Gravitas can get back in here? Like, what's going wrong? What's going wrong for Kanga? But they just, hadn't grouped up enough, hadn't made it work. And look, situations like this with the team fights going all over the place, it was moments that allowed the Gravitas fans to be very excited with maybe there being a chance. But this is the fight I was talking about. You got the red team running at them, and look, you could tell, obviously, Elder Drake was up, but it was unnecessary with those, 50, 45 second bloody respawn timers. It was more than enough to finish the game. Kanga knew that and then took that dub. So slow and steady again. If you're looking at the gold difference, there was a few swings back in the direction of Gravitas with those bounties collected, but it was very much a situation of too little too late, right, Rusty?
Yeah, I mean, Gravitas, they tried to fight, they showed some defiance there, but ultimately they lost their 2v2, they lost their 1v1, and they didn't really get anything done in the mid-jungle because Scott was a little bit too active too early, right? And those winning lanes means that Scott can continue to be forwards with it, and that's what it comes down to in the end. They were just so far ahead that Gravitas couldn't actually throw anything at them if they tried.
Now look, I guess what else can we really take away from this graphic? Was there anything odd in terms of the builds? Any items that weren't having a huge effect, Skimmy?
Oh, that's a can of worms.
I mean, yeah, we already heard the vocal call out from Rusty
got?
on the Karmas. We could have gone for, Moonstone or the Shrellers. Shrellers would have been nice, obviously, for the mobility. We did get word from production that the Moonstone did pump out a significant amount of healing. I just enjoyed the Kaiserville personally. There's like so many variations of what you can go. Kraken into Collector into straight usual AD carry. Piglet opted for the triple evolution, so you're evolving all three abilities. What he went for. I like that variation as well.
Yeah.
But he did have some very strong individual moments, but the Ezreal was just too strong, too early on, too hard to shut down.
So much damage pumped out by Lemus. And look, Kitty, usually one of those enablers as an Enchanted player to help pump out that damage. Who do you have for the post-match, Kitty?
Thank you. Well, someone that also pumped out a lot of damage was Liv, so let's bring him in for his interview. So, Liv, congrats on the easy dub to celebrate. Are we going to celebrate with some AOT watching with the boys tonight?
We are, except everyone else is not up to date, so I have to only watch the newest episode with Matthew. He's the only one up to date. I got to get everyone else up to speed.
Well, talking about anime, do you actually have any anime recommendations given that it is the last day of week 8 for the fans?
I do. So, there are quite a few animes that I personally like. I think Made in Abyss is very underrated. I think the music, it's crisp. It's goddamn some beautiful music. But it's also made by an Australian guy, fun fact as well. So, that adds cherry on top.
That's true.
What else is there? I think Ancient Magus Bride, not bad as well. That's another banger. And obviously Attack on Titan. Anyone who hasn't watched Attack on Titan, watch it right now. It's best anime ever. Best story, best goddamn fight scenes. It's amazing. Just watch it.
Well, talking about best things, we've actually seen Kanga just play their best game in the split so far, and it was quite a hard team comp to actually pull off with nearing no hard engage in the draft. What was the game plan going into that game that allowed you guys to actually work out the team comp?
Yeah, our team comp, pretty much just looking at us, is kind of just like Karma presses E, and then we just like all run at them, and then hope they die. That's pretty much like, that's the plan. Looking at it, we got Gwen, Tryndamere, Karma. Yeah, you kind of just run at them and they die if you're ahead. But if you're behind, not the greatest. But if you're ahead, easy, clean game.
We love some high risk, high reward gameplay, especially something very risky coming out of Kanga. But it worked anyways because of those mechanics diffs. Well, I'm gonna let you go and watch AOT with Matthew. See you next week, Lived.
Awesome, thank you very much.
Oh, Pico, you got any anime recommendations? You've been watching anime lately? No, you just been eating fish and chicken? Yeah? Easy. All right, well, nothing from her today. But look, she wanted to get out of here.
Wish I could
she was
do that
chilling.
with my dog. He's too big.
Yeah. Well, you could. You're a strong man, Rusty. That's all I'm saying.
That's a lot of dog.
That's a lot of dog. You got a lot of space on the camera there. You can make it happen. Look, anyway, it is time for the Dare MVP. And today's Dare MVP for the first match of the day was your boy Lemus, doing work in the bot lane and pumping out the damage. I believe it's definitely his best game so far in Split 1 of the LCO. And the man had some decent stats to back it up. 39% of the damage share. That's a huge stat, Skimmy.
It certainly is, and I mean, it's a champion, right, that is going to allow you to really showcase your mechanics, because I feel like we've always had this discussion around Ezreal. The sky is the limit in terms of how good that champion can be. It's all down to the player. You hit those skill shots, you're infinitely better than anybody else. The fact that he's put in 2 very consistent performances now on this one up against a top-tier team, another in back-to-back sequence to showcase, this might have been what they needed all along.
100%. Now, look, Rusty, anything you want to add to that? Lemus, of course, he's had a bit of a shaky time in the LCO for Split 1, but finally, just when it matters, it's starting to pick up.
Yeah, I mean, he's improving steadily as the split progresses. So there's been a lot of work for Limas, it feels like, with playing with the rest of his team. We know he's a mechanical player, right? And you know, coming into competitive, there's a lot to learn. So I'm glad that it's coming along nicely.
That's exactly right. And I'm glad that you guys are following the Twitter. Wait, what's that? You're not? Well, jump on over to Twitter and follow LCO, and you can keep up to date with all the damn updates, all the player interviews, all the cool highlights and stuff. You'll see them over on Twitter. Thanks to our social media guys and gals. And, of course, look, we got a second game to get to as well. So after, of course, you go and follow the Twitter, we got a second game for you. But I'm going to hold it hostage until you follow on Twitter. Right? That second game, though, it's one you want to see. It's Pentanet.gg up against Order just after this.
Bubble is all it takes. 2 kills found. Pegler on the board again. 3-0-1. Rough and lane, but popping off in the team fights. That's where it counts. Fido now running members down. He's got the Undying Rage active. He's found himself a double on the back end of that team fight. Leonel looking to try and lock members in place to allow members to take them down. But Fido's just too strong. He's got too much fury. He's got too much sustain. And he's got the kill target locked in mind. On towards Victor. Forced to flash away. In jump Scott. A flash kick as he falls on down. But his job is done in his team fight. It's a triple kill again for Limas.